Have you ever used music to get yourself pumped up for a big event, or to wake yourself up at the beginning of the day? Maybe you've used music to relax yourself. People use music all the time to change the way that they move or feel, like when they're marching or dancing or just relaxing and maybe going to sleep. Rhythm is a big part of what gives music its character, and the way that rhythms are organized is a big part of how the music can feel. Let's do an experiment. I'm going to play a piece of music, and your job is going to be to move your feet to the beat. If you're alone, you can do this standing up, but if you're out in public and you're feeling a little bit shy, you can just use your fingers and pretend that they're feet. So here we go. Here's the first one. Try to move your feet with the beat of the music that I'm playing. Let's try it again. This time, the organization of the beat is going to change. I'm not going to tell you how, but you might notice that your feet might have to move a little bit differently to this beat. Here we go. How did your feet move differently to each piece of music? You might have noticed that the first piece was organized in groups of 2 beats, while the second piece was organized in groups of 3 beats. If I were going to come up with some words to describe the feeling of each music, for the first one I might use words like marching or strict. And for the second one I might use words like bouncing or floating. Musicians sometimes use the word lilting. Part of the difference in movement comes from the fact that when we move in groups of 2, it matches our 2 feet. For instance, left, right, left, right, left, right. When we move in beats of 3, we have to change the way that our feet move. For instance, you could go left, right, right, left, right, right. Or you could move 1 foot for every 3 beats, like this. Left, 2, 3, right, 2, 3. There's different ways of doing this, and you might have come up with your own solutions. Of course, a 2-beat and a 3-beat can feel very different depending on the speed of the music and the way that the notes are used. For instance, if I had a 3-beat in a medium tempo with some low notes every 3 beats, it would sound like this. It'd be very different if I had some higher notes moving very quickly, like this. Still, the difference between beats grouped in 2 and beats grouped in 3 is a pretty important one in most music. Let's try an experiment. For this, you'll need your instrument or your voice. You'll also need a metronome. Right now, I'll demonstrate, but if you want to try it out more at home, you can find the instructions online. Once you have your instrument, the next thing you're going to do is to pick a scale or a key or just a collection of notes that you like the sound of and that you feel comfortable playing. I'm going to stick with those notes that I started with earlier, called C Lydian, which is just a fancy way of saying a C scale that uses F sharp instead of F natural. Once you have your notes picked up, grab your metronome, and you're going to put it on a pretty fast tempo. I'm actually going to put mine at 170, which sounds like this. You can pick a tempo that's comfortable for you, but it should be pretty fast because we're going to be playing with these beats organized in groups of 2 and 3. So once you have your metronome ready, we'll put it on, And just start to feel beats grouped in two. Kind of like this. 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and. Just play one note and start to feel the beat. Once you feel comfortable, you can start to improvise using the notes that you picked out. Let's try it again, but now with the beats organized in 3. Turn your metronome back on and start to feel groups of 3 like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Once that 3 beat starts to feel solid, you can experiment with improvising around those notes that you picked out earlier. So let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Did you notice if you played the music differently depending on if it was grouped in 2 or 3? I definitely noticed that I was using sort of a different character, different articulation and dynamics, depending on if the beats were grouped in 2 versus grouped in 3. Now let's get a little bit more complicated and see if we can alternate between groups of 2 and groups of 3. You're going to need your metronome again, and you're going to put it on that same beat. And we're going to start to feel groups of 2 followed by groups of 3, repeating one right after the next, like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Once you've got that in your mind, you can start to play along with the beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Once you've got that beat feeling pretty solid, you can start to improvise. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There are tons of combinations that you can use, and things can get a little bit complicated. For instance, I like the pattern 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3, 2 plus 2 plus 3. Now, since that's a little bit tricky to keep track of, I'm going to use a musical shorthand so that I remember where I am in the beat. For this, I'll be using dashes for groups of 2 and triangles for groups of 3. So let's see what this might sound like. I'm going to put my metronome on. And the beat again is like this. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to play it with a single note. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you'll hear musicians describe these different combinations of 2 and 3 as being called additive rhythm, because when you add up the different combinations, you get larger values like 5, 7, or even 11 or 13. Those larger groupings are when you'll see musicians using that shorthand I was using earlier, with the dashes and triangles. Now, this kind of additive rhythm is used in music all over the world, not just in classical music, but also in jazz and rock and music pretty much everywhere. Let's see how one composer used it in his music. We're going to listen to the piece Dance of Fury for the Seven Trumpets by the French composer Olivier Messiaen. Originally, this piece was written for cello, violin, piano, and clarinet. But in this movement, all the instruments are playing the same notes at the same time. So even though I'm just playing it on cello, you'll still get a good idea for what it sounds like. If you want to listen to the real performance online, I'll post a link. Now, before we listen to Messiaen's real version, which uses groups of 2 and 3, I'd like to listen to an altered version that I've created that only uses groups of 2. Let's listen to this version, and kind of like at the beginning of the video, let's see if you can move along with the beat at the same time that I'm playing. So here's my own altered version of Messiaen's piece, using only groups of 2. Now let's listen to Messiaen's real version, which uses combinations of 2 and 3 together. Keep trying to move to the beat, and notice how the different combinations of 2 and 3 really change the character of this music. Let's give it a try. What did you hear? Or maybe more importantly, what did you feel? How did Messiaen's combinations of 2 and 3 beats change the character of this music? Of course, there's lots of different ways that you can use additive rhythm. And if you want to hear more music that uses some of these rhythms, I'll post some links online for you to check out. And of course, you can keep experimenting and improvising on your own at home. Thanks for watching.